After a winter break, it feels really good to get back into gardening. Today's project was at a customer's home in a beautiful space that just needs a little attention to get ready for spring. The to-do list was straightforward but hefty. We had to tackle the 5-foot lantana, trim up azaleas, clean out the bee balm, and take care of some cleanup. The lantana was the first challenge. At 5 feet tall, it had grown well past its prime for this season. This plant is tough, and cutting it back now sets it up for a fresh start in spring. I grabbed pruners and got to work taking it down. As I worked, I could already imagine the bright flowers that this is going to produce once the weather warms up. After finishing up with the lantana, I pulled out the weed whacker. The garden floor was covered in a layer of fallen leaves, and they needed breaking up. A few quick passes helped mulch up the leaves into smaller pieces while clearing the pathways and giving the space a much needed cleaner look. It was a simple step, but it did make a huge difference how the garden felt. Next was tackling the Mexican petunia and the azalea and a rose bush. Then it was time for the bee balm. I always enjoy working with this plant because it's such a pollinator favorite. The old stems were brown and brittle, ready to be cleaned away. I cut them down to the ground, leaving the space tidy and ready for new growth to emerge. Again, I pulled out the weed whacker and just tidied up the space. It felt really good to know that in just a few short weeks, this area will be buzzing literally with bees and butterflies. In this area, we do have more lantana that are about 4 feet tall and wide. So I did cut those back, cleaned everything all up to make it ready for spring. By the end of the day, everything was looking refreshed and ready for spring. The lantana, azalea, bee balm, Mexican petunia were all pruned. The leaves were broken up, and the garden space had its life back. Sometimes it's the little things like clearing and cluttering and tidying the edges that makes all the difference. As I packed up my tools, I couldn't help but smile, knowing this garden was prepped for a beautiful spring ahead. I hope you get a chance to enjoy your garden today. Until next time.